Yeah, good morning all. We came at the from the beginning in our Python course. We have seen some basic concepts. After we have gone for the conditional statements, then the functions, exceptions, and we handle with the files, how to handle exceptions, functional programming. We have completed object-oriented programming in Python, and yesterday we have seen some regular expressions, and today this is our last module in our solo learn Python course, and this is about all about packaging and the Pythonicness. So first part we'll see about the gen of Python. So what is this gen of Python? So whenever you write a code which will do a particular task, your desired task. So after whenever you open the same code after 1 month or two, you must be this that must be understandable to you. So you should not face any trouble understanding that. So if you have given your code or share your code with another programmer, so they must be so they must understand the code with ease, so they should not face any trouble understanding the code. So this gen of Python is nothing but see the writing program that actually do what they are supposed to do is just one component of being a good Python programmer. So one of the way of doing this follow gen of Python, here gen of Python. So what is this is a set of principles that serves as a guide to programming the Python away. So it is acting as a guide, means it is nothing but a guiding principles. So this gen of Python was developed by a scientist, a developer, software developer, Tim Peters. So he has given this a set of guidelines to be followed, so that it can make the ease in understanding the program or writing the program. So these gen of Python will have some 20 principles. So these are the 20 principles. So give it a read, and these can be imported using import this keyword. So import this, when you execute this line, import this. So this will be the output. This is the result of that. Import this. So these are 20 principles. So just give it a read then. So here we have, so this is there are 20 principles in the gen of Python, but we can see here some 19, here 19 sentences we can see, but 28 is nothing but the 20th will be nothing but the use white space. This is nothing but the use of white space. This is nothing but gen of Python. So next we go for the PEP. So PEP is a Python enhancement proposals. This is not PEP, and these are the few other guidelines we must follow. This is we have here PEP 8. This is a style guide of writing a readable code. So this is a style guide for writing a readable code, and these are the some of the guidelines we must follow. That a module should have short, all lowercase names, all class names should be in the caps word style, like a C uppercase, W in the uppercase. So most variables and function names should be in lowercase. Underscore, which means we need to introduce underscores being the spaces between the words in the function names. So these are the few PEP 8 means PEP 8 style guide. So and previously we have seen some gen of Python, right? So those come under the PEP 20. So PEP 20 means gen of Python. PEP 257 is the style conversions of doc strings. So here PEP 8 as some of the include suggestions, like lines shouldn't be longer than 80 characters. So this is the format we have been using from module import. So this we should be avoided in the PEP 8. We have been using this like import math from the square root, all these things. These must be avoided in the PEP 8. So there should be only one statement per line. So we cannot write multiple statements in a single line. These should be followed when writing the PEP 8. This is the PEP. And here we come the more function arguments. So we have seen functions without arguments and functions with arguments. So when we declare a function, in the inside the parentheses we will declare some parameters which will pass as the arguments. So here see, Python allows you to have function with a varying number of arguments. So varying a number of arguments. So here is some of the word we see then asterisk. Now we say star args. So star args. So how does this star args work? Let us see. This is example program. We are defining a function. So function is the name of the function we are using. So it is passing two arguments named underscore arg and star args. So these are the, we are passing two parameters, but one of them we include a star args. So print named underscore args. So when we pass the parameters and called this function, we are printing the first parameter, and print args, we are printing the second parameter here. So this is a function we declared, and we are calling the function. We are passing 1 2 3 4 5 as a arguments for the parameters. So here 1 2 3 4 5. Here we have given 5 inputs, and here we function only with the 2 parameters, means only 2 arguments here. So what does the output print? So let us see. So here printing the first argument here. So named underscore arg. So 1 is the first. So this will be replaced here. So 1 we can see in the output. So print args. So here star and args, what we'll do is whatever the leftover, so whatever the leftover will be collected and printed in the args. So this one has already given to the named underscore arg value. What are those leftovers? 2 3 4 5. These will be printed in the form of a tuple. So here we have seen the tuples. Tuple will be declared inside the parenthesis. There will be in the square brackets, it means as a list. So this is the tuple example. So they will be printed in the form of a tuple. So function arguments. So we are, when we give what if we give some default values? Let us see an example here. We are defining a function x and y for the two arguments we want to pass, and we are giving some food. We are giving a assign variable food with the value of spam. So this is a string we are giving spam. So print food. So we need to print the food value. So we calling the function 1 and 2. So we are giving the values for x and y, passing the two parameters. So whenever this function is called, we print food. So we does not change any value for the food. So it will directly print a spam in the output. So spam is printed in the output. So function 3 4, and we are passing another string here. So x and y values will be 3 and 4. So here print whatever the food string we are giving, we are replacing the string with egg. So when we print food, so output will be replaced, spam will be replaced with the egg. So this is how we declare a default value with using food. When we didn't change the value, whatever the default value will be printed in the output. So when we change, whatever the new value we have given, it will print in the output. So next we say function arguments. Here we say asterisk and double asterisk kwargs. It is nothing but the keyboard arguments. This is used for the keyboard arguments to collect all the keyboard arguments. So the keyboard arguments return a dictionary. So dictionary we have seen dictionary after the tuples concept. So dictionary nothing but it must have a key and a value. It will have a key and a value. So return a dictionary in which the key, yeah, we discussed key are the argument names. So here key is the argument name and the value will be the argument values. So key will be the argument name. So whatever the arguments user passes, the argument names are will be taken as the keys, and the values of the argument as the argument values. So here is an example program. So we're defining my underscore func. This is the function. So x, we pass the first parameter, y equal to 7 second, and star asterisk args. So what are the leftovers will be collected here, and also passing some keyboard arguments, asterisk double asterisk kwargs is the keyboard arguments. So these keyboard arguments will be in the form of dictionary which has a key and a value. So print kwargs, we are printing the keyboard arguments. So my underscore function, we call the function, we are giving 2 3 4 5 6, a equal to 7, b is equal to 8. So these will be taken as the keyboard arguments. So these whatever these input your user gives will be taken as a keyboard arguments, and this will be printed in the form of a dictionary. So this is the dictionary. This is we have discussed, right? This is the key colon and this is its value. This is the key and value. This is the format as the dictionary we represent. So in the format of dictionary, it will print the keyboard arguments. So these are all about functional arguments. So next we go for tuple. We have discussed what is a tuple. We declare a tuple in the parenthesis, and once we declare a tuple, the values in the tuple cannot be changed. So these are very similar to the list, but a list can have a duplicates, whereas tuple cannot have any duplicates in them. So this is called tuple unpacking. So what does the tuple unpacking do? Tuple unpacking allows you to assign each item in an iterable to a variable. So let us see an example program. What is the iterable item of an iterable to a variable? So numbers 1, 2, 3. So this is a tuple. Variable is numbers. So a, b, c equal to numbers. So we're giving some extra variables a, b, c, and assign what are the value of the numbers will be assigned to the a, b, c. So we're individually printing the variables print a, print b, print c. So when we run this code, so print a value will become 1, so b will be assigned to 2, c will be assigned with 3. So numbers have the this tuple has three elements 1, 2 and 3. So here we passing three variables a, b, c. So these a, b, c will be given values with these tuples 1, 2, 3. This is how it's called tuple unpacking. So here see, this can also be used to swap variables by doing a comma b equal to b comma a. So this is how we can swap the variables. Since b comma a on the right hand side forms a tuple b comma a. So this forms nothing but a tuple b comma a. So a comma a will be assigned to the b comma a. So this is how we swap variables. So in the example of tuple unpacking, so we are using some asterisk here, asterisk in front of a variable. So what happens if we keep an asterisk in front of a variable? So here we see a, b and asterisk c and d. We are giving some list here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so till 9. So we are individually printing the variables print a, print b, print c, print d. So whenever we execute this, so here asterisk C, we have seen the previous example of asterisk args. So whatever the, suppose we are passing a function, example parameters a, b and asterisk c or asterisk args. So if a function, if the user given an input of my function of 1, 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, so 1 and 2 will be given to a and b, 3, 4, 5, 6 whatever the leftovers will be given to the args, right? So same will happen here. Let us see this output. So here a will be assigned with a 1, so 1, and b will be given to the value 2, then at last d will be given to the last element here, so that is a 9. So d value will be 9. So what are the leftover? So a, b and d are given, and what are the leftovers will be taken with the asterisk c. So what are the leftovers from 3 to 8? So these are the leftovers here. So these all will be collected by the C. So when we print the variables C, so this we can see in the output in the list format from 3 to 8 elements. This is the tuple unpacking. So next we go ternary operator. Ternary operator is nothing but a conditional operator. We check the conditions statement in a single statement. So if we want to check the condition if and we want to assign a value, we'll give it in the else. But using ternary operator, all the if and else statements can be executed in a single line. So here see, conditional expressions are also known as known applications for ternary operator. So let us see an example here. Example program here, variable a will be assigned to the 7 and b. So variable, we are changing the value of the b, giving a condition here. Let us see this statement. So b equal to 1. So b value will be 1 if a greater than or equal to 5. So this is the condition, right? A greater than or equal to 5. So here we have given a 7. So 7 greater than or equal to 5. Yes, it is true. So if this is true, the value will not be changed. So b is equal to 1 if a greater than or equal to 5. Yes, it is true. This condition is satisfied. So b value will be 1. So else 42. So if suppose user has given here some 3. So 3 greater than or equal to 5, it is false, right? So b value will be updated with 42. Okay, so b, changing the b value based on this if condition and else. So when we print b, output will be 1. This is, so let us see an example, another example here. So status equal to 1. So status we are giving as a 1. So message, if you print the message here, message log out if status double equal to 1, else login. So if is the condition, if status equivalent to 1, yes, status is equivalent to 1. So if we print the message, the output will be log out, or else it will be say login. Okay, this is how this ternary operator works. So more on else. So we have seen else in the, when we have seen else using under the if statement. So we can also use the else under for and while loop, and this will change the complete usage of the else. So let us see an example here. So for I in range of 10, so I will iterate from 0 to 9. So if I equivalent to 999, it's break, else print unbroken 1. So remember, whenever this program is executed, we will see unbroken 1 in the output. So how does this execute? Let us see. So I from the I 0 to 9, it will check the each and condition. I not equal to, so here 0, so 0 not equal to 9, yeah, it's false. So you can say that why don't it print unbroken for the 9 times. See here we have given else for the for loop, not for the if. Okay, we are not writing else for the if, we are writing else given to the for loop. Okay, we have discussed that when we written else under the for and while, it will change the complete meaning of the else. So this whole loop will be executed, and this we what if so if this doesn't be executed, then else will be executed. Okay, after coming out the complete for loop. Okay, for I in range of 0 to 9, so 0 to 9 will not be equivalent to 999, so this will not be executed, so break will not be executed, then we can print else unbroken 1. So in the second statement, second loop, see for I in range of 10, so 0 to 9, so here whenever it's I value 5, it is equivalent to 5, so it will just break. So to complete the for loop will be broken, and it will come out of the loop, so it will not print anything. So if for loop is just broken, so it will not print anything. So this is a use of else under the for loop. So else can also be used for try and except statements by using while handling the exceptions. Let us see an example. Try, so print 1, so there is no error here, so output will print 1. So expect 0 divide error, so there is no error raised here. So else print 3, so we can see 1 and 3 in the output, so 1 and 3 has printed in the output. So second try block C, so try print 1 by 0, so this is an error, we can't divide by 0, so 0 division error has occurred, so print 4, so it will print 4. So there is nothing to go for the, so try and except is successfully executed, so there is no need go for the else block, so else block will not be executed, so 5 will not be printed in the output. This is how we can use else in the try and except statements. So next we go for the main. This is double underscore main and double underscore. So whatever we write inside this format, this is a syntax here, look into the syntax. If double underscore main double underscore equivalent to in the apostrophes, we'll say that double underscore main and double underscore. This ensures that it won't be run if the file is imported. So if any file is imported in the program, so what are the statements inside, what are the script code inside written, these will not be executed. Let us see an example here. Define function, print, this is a module function, and if double underscore name double underscore equivalent to double underscore main, and this is the code we have written inside this block, and we are not importing any file here, so and this will not be executed, whatever inside this will be executed. So this is a script will be printed in the output, so this is a script will be printed in the output. So while we import any file, this whole block will be eliminated and will not be executed. We can see this is module function in the output. So let us see another example for clarification. So this is a previous code, right? Remember this previous code, and we are saving that previous code with the name of sololen.py. So we are saving the previous code. This is the previous code we have seen. Define function, print, this is a module function. If we are giving this syntax, and inside this script we have written this print, this is script. So here this is the code saved with the name of sololen.py, and this is some other code we are saving with some other code, some script underscore script.py. We are import sololen, so we are importing this file using import sololen. So this file will be imported, this Python file will be imported. So sololen.function, we are calling the function. So here see the file has been imported. So when what we discussed earlier, so whatever, if a file is imported, so whatever the script inside written inside this will not be executed. So we are importing a file and calling the function, so this will be eliminated, and whatever the function we have written inside this will be executed. So this is a module function has will printed in the output. So this is module function will print in the output. Okay, I hope you understand. We are not importing any file here, so when we execute this, so only this C script will be executed, and only this statement will be executed. Whatever the code inside this will be executed. So while we import any file, so this will be eliminated, and other than this the program will execute. This is the use of the double underscore main double underscore. So Python has many number of libraries in it, and most of the libraries are standard libraries, and they can do many functions. So what if you do some functions that are not present in the library, they can be done using some third-party libraries. So here are some examples of third-party libraries of Django. This is one of the third-party library most frequently used for the web framework written in the Python. Most used for web framework. Django powers websites that include Instagram and Disqus. So you all know that Instagram is completely written in the Python code. So total Instagram is written in the Python code. So other than from Django, we also that Cherry Py and Flash are also two popular web framework. So we can do web framework using the Python. So for scraping data from website, we use a library of Beautiful Soap. So this Beautiful Soap will be used to scraping data from the websites. These are the few third-party libraries. So here are some more of the major third-party libraries. The module matplotlib. So matplotlib allows you to create graphs based on data in the Python. So we are creating we are collecting the data using Python, and suppose we are saving the data in the file and we are importing the file, and we need to make a graph for the file. We just use a matplotlib library to do the task. So module numpy allows you to use multi-dimensional arrays. Numpy is multi-dimensional arrays that are much faster than native Python solutions of nested lists. So if you want to calculate in less reduced time, so large number of calculations will take more execution time. So to avoid this, we just use the library module numpy, and this is also, there is also an advanced module library of numpy, that is nothing but scipy. This is scipy, which contains a numerous extensions to the functionality of numpy. numpy. So in Python can also be used in the game development. So we use for 3D games, we use a library Panda 3D, and for the 2D games we just use a basic one. This is Pygame, so Pygame. These libraries can be used in developing for the games. So these are the third party libraries in the Python. So let's go for the packages. So what are these packages? So then packaging refers to the putting modules you have written. So these are the codes you have written in a standard format. So format is nothing but a successive arrangement, so that other programmers can install and use them with ease. So whatever the code whatever the .exe files we're installing, apps we're installing, all these are written in a different modules and put them in a successive format, which is a standard format. So to make our own package, we need to follow some modules. So we use these modules, setup tools and distutils. These are the two modules we use for creating our packages. And we also include double underscore init double underscore dot py, which can be a blank, which is a blank file, but must be present in the dictionary, I mean the directory. Okay, this is the file must present in our directory. And also this directory goes into another directory containing the readme and license, as well as an important file called setup.py. So one directory goes into another directory containing readme license files, as well as an important file that setup.py. We will see setup.py soon. So this is an example directory structure. So sololen is the name of the directory, which has two files, license.txt, readme.txt. It also has setup.py. So this whole line can be written in this. So license.txt, readme.txt, setup. So this directory will goes to another directory of sololen. It has this blank file double underscore init double underscore dot py and sololen.py, sololen2.py. These are our modules. So our modules, putting modules you have written. So these modules we have written. So let us see the next. Here next we will see this setup.py. So this is a next step in the packaging is to write the setup.py file. So what is a setup.py file? This contains necessary information to assemble the package, so it can be uploaded to, this is a python package index, and installed with the pip, that is nothing but name, version, whatever the software has. So this is an example of setup.py. From distutils core import setup, what is this distutils we have seen here? What is the distutils here? So these are two modules we use, right, while creating our package, setup tools and distutils. So we are importing distutils here from this, we are importing setup from the distutils core. So here setup parenthesis, inside the parenthesis the name equal to sololen, so package name is the sololen. So we have version 0.1 Dave. So packages, it has these packages here, license MIT, so long underscore description open readme, so description will provide here. So this is how we use a setup file. This is a setup. So beneath that we have seen, after creating setup.py file, upload it to, this is a package, python package index, or use the command lines to execute directly. We can upload to the package, so the python package index, or we need to execute this using these functions. So to build a source distribution, use command line to navigate to directory containing setup.py. So directory must be means, let us say, navigate to the setup.py and run the command python setup.py sdist. This is what you use to run the command. So run python, where after running the bdist for Windows, setup python setup.py bdst of Linux. These are the just commands we execute your package after creating a package. These are commands. So packaging for the users. So these packages can be we discussed that the packages you created can be installed by the other programmers, but we can't say that world is full of programmers, right? So few may have the Python pre-installed in their PC, few may not. So there are few softwares that can be used to execute these packages. So for Windows, many tools are available for converting scripts to executables in Windows. For example, py2exe can be used for the package a Python script. To be packaged a Python script along with the libraries it requires into a single executable. So for the Windows we use py2exe. Excuse me. So whereas for the Linux system they are already pre-built Python in the Linux, so they don't need any uh, other tools to execute those. So Linux has a better advantage in the Python. So when coming to the Mac users, they have py2 app, py installer, cx underscore freeze. These are for the Mac users. And for the Windows users, they have py2 exe, py installer, cx underscore freeze. So these are for the Windows users. So this is how we execute our packages after creating them. So these are all about packaging for users. So this is our last module in our Solo-Learn Python course. So does anyone have any doubts? You can ask. We have seen the gen of Python, which is nothing but a set of guidelines or principles for the programmers. And this is the PEP is nothing but the Python enhancement proposals. And PEP 8 and PEP, we have seen some PEP 20 is nothing but gen of Python. PEP 257 style conversion of doc strings. We've also seen the PEP 8 is a framework. So more of function arguments, what if the user has given them more arguments than the function takes? So they are given to the asterisk args. So those are will be collected by the args. So what are the leftovers collected by the args? So tuple unpacking, ternary operator, a conditional operator, if and else can be written in a single statement, and we can also change the variable value in the same statement. So more on else statement, using the else beneath the for and while. So main, when we import a file, it will execute the half the program. If we did not import any file, it will execute other half of the program that is not written inside the script of the main. So may third party libraries we have seen using packages and packages for the users. So after completing it, it will be very easy to complete the last quiz of our course. So does anyone have any doubts? You can ask. So I take that as a no, and that's all for today. Thank you.